Thank you to Ijaz and Shabi for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to speak here today, CEO Club itself. And of course, it's an absolute honor for someone like me to be sharing a stage with icons such as Dr. Amjad, entity in his own right, as I would say, Waqar Saab, Amir Saab, Sirajuddin Saab, and I really look forward to listening to Ms. Ruby as well. So they started up with State Life. Let me give a quick brief about what State Life is. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the name, but where does it actually come from? State Life was formed in 1972 as per a presidential order with a distinct purpose, which was to serve the community to its best advantage. That means serving Pakistan and Pakistanis. What it also means is its role is beyond just insurance. Its mission and its vision is not just insurance policies. It is to empower, it is to serve, and it is to protect the wider diaspora of Pakistanis. State Life today stands as the only AAA insurance entity in Pakistan, rated. It spans across Pakistan. Truly, it's got more than 15,000 physical offices from Gwadar to Gilgit, Karachi to Khyber. So wherever you go, be it Pari Chinar or Sibbi or Laya, you will find State Life. And it has expanded its role from life to health to social health programs. But I must clarify, I'm not here to plug State Life or talk about State Life, but it is more to talk about State Life as a case study. We are here to talk about the next 5 years. We know the next 5 years are going to be challenging. It's what we all expect. We also know the past 5 years have been challenging. There's been the pandemic, the first the world has seen of its sort. Pakistan, there have been global crisis, wars breaking out, which have impacted us and our economy severely. There have been political upheavals within Pakistan. There's been high inflation rates. Purchasing power has gone down within Pakistan. But through this time period, we do have a story of State Life, a state-owned enterprise. Over this whole past 5 years and throughout, you would also be hearing how most state-owned enterprises are a drain on our economy. But here is a case of a state-owned enterprise that's not only growing, but actually contributing more every day to the government, to the state itself, as Waqar Saab defined state. And to just share some very quick numbers, over the past 5 years, how State Life has actually performed. Its net annual revenue is about $500 million, which is a growth of more than 150%. Its investment income annually stands at more than $200 billion, which itself is a growth of more than 140%. Our premium income alone is at nearly $300 billion a year, which over these past 5 years has shown a growth of more than 250%. Our total assets under management today stand at more than 1.7 trillion rupees. And that is a growth of more than 85% over the past 5 years. And all of this is not just money coming in. State Life now stands as one of the most profitable organizations in Pakistan. I'm not only talking about financial organizations. I'm comparing State Life with oil and gas industry as well. Its annual policyholder and shareholder profit in total is more than 125 billion rupees. It puts it up right up there with the largest organizations that we have in Pakistan. And one thing that we all say that insurance companies don't pay out, so this one figure actually is one that I'm actually proud of, is that last year alone, we expected to pay more than 200 billion rupees in claims to our policyholders alone. Now, these are fantastic numbers, but these are just numbers though. The main point to talk about here is how has this been achieved through these challenging times. At a time when the entire industry, the insurance industry, is struggling. I took this role on 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago now. And I came, it's genuinely my first stint in Pakistan, working in the financial industry within Pakistan. Previously, I've been away for about 18 years. So the first thing to do was to understand what is it that we are doing wrong. State Life even then was a big platform. It had a name. But there was definitely a feeling that we're not delivering as much as we should be doing. I remember my hiring at that time. We come under Ministry of Commerce. Razak Daud Saab was my hiring minister. And the first conversation I had with him, once I took this role on, he didn't give me a framework or targets or anything. It was just one sentence. Shoaib, this corporation has massive potential. Right now, it's over here, and your job is to take it there. And that's it. That one sentence was the realization of the potential within this corporation to actually impact lives, not just financially, but in terms of empowering and enablement. Of course, we looked at ourselves strategically. We understood where our strengths were, how we further build on them, but more importantly, we worked towards understanding where our weaknesses were, so that we can understand how we can correct ourselves and how we can improve ourselves. And behind these numbers is the real story of how we are impacting lives within Pakistan. You've seen the numbers, but behind that, State Life is now running the social healthcare program, under which it's administering health services to 180 million Pakistanis, from AJK, Gilgit-Baltistan, Punjab, KP, and now Balochistan as well. The work our boys and girls have put in to make this a possibility is immense. We were, a few months ago, sat with KfW, which is a German bank, and they were telling us about, it was a teaching session, and they were telling us about Germany's universal health program. Under Germany's universal health program, it covers 70 million Germans across 16 provinces. It has 96 state-run health insurance organizations to serve that universal health program of 70 million individuals. When they realized that in Pakistan, it's only one organization that's administering and servicing 180 million lives, it blew them away. Moreover, and I don't kid you about this, when they saw the digitalization that we've implemented, this entire process from Balochistan to Gilgit to AJK, it's all paperless. We've got 4 lines of defense to make sure there is no fraud, that we minimize any sort of malpractice. They themselves admitted that our health program here that we are running is far more digitalized than their program there. They're still using papers and files. We actually have adopted business and artificial intelligence to ensure that when we review and audit the treatments being given, that they are as per the symptoms being recorded by the patients themselves. So this is a success story, and it's your success story. And it goes down from the macro level to individual lives. And whenever I speak about the impact it has on lives, I'm reminded of 2 specific stories. One was when I initially joined maybe 2 years ago at a hospital in Islamabad. I was there to review how the operations of the health program were going. Going through one ward, meeting some patients, meeting the doctors, I saw this old man, really old man, long beard, mehendi on it, looking at me as I walked through from bed to bed, and his eyes were just trained on me. As I stepped out of the room, he grabbed my hand. And to my shock, he actually started weeping. The story of this individual was that he was from Chitral, an old grandfather. His granddaughter, aged 6 years old then, was born with a heart defect, which after a while meant that she could not partake in a proper child life. She could not go to school, she could not play with children. And it was obviously the healthcare system in Chitral wasn't able to address this issue, the illness the individual had, the little girl had. They did not have the means to go for any expensive treatments. The family had all but lost hope till somebody told this old man, the grandfather, that the government has started this program and State Life is running it. Go to Islamabad. He didn't believe it. Like, who the hell will give me, this is Pakistan. Who's going to think about the poor? Who's going to give me free treatment? But given it was the last hope for his granddaughter, he traveled down from Chitral to Islamabad, walked into the hospital. By the hospital staff, our people, he was given the same treatment as would have been given to the owner of that hospital. And at that point, the reason he broke down to tears was that his daughter had been treated, the heart condition resolved, and she was on the road to recovery. And it was fantastic to see. Of course, once we engaged with that individual, we followed that story, I did personally, to see how it was going. And it was fantastic to report that now that child is healthy, hearty, and going to school and living a normal life. That is the impact that individuals, we can make on individual lives. And similarly, life insurance. It's a conversation not around savings or a income generation product. The true purpose of life insurance is social protection. Protection of one's life, protection of one's family, protection of the future of your children. And a similar story that I came across, and just sharing with you, was one of our, I think it was in Gujranwala, one of our zonal offices was there, meeting the team there. And I noticed there was this massive bouquet of flowers. I just inquired what that is. And they said, oh, one of our policyholders brought this bouquet for the zonal head and all. And the lady was there. And I won't go into the details, but what it transpired was it was a young woman who had unfortunately become a widow. Her husband he was a painter of sorts, a laborer, and he met an unfortunate accident and died. And the young woman had become a widow. Unfortunately, her in-laws did not treat her so well, and they turned her away. And she was living in a backyard hut of a family friend, because she did not know where else to go. And our agent, and she wasn't even aware that her husband had bought this policy. It had only been a year since he had got this state life policy. And it only been, she was completely unaware of it, but our agent tracked her down, found her jhopri ke and gave her the check. And when she received the check, it became a start of a new life for her, where she had lost all hope. So that's why I say that when we talk about financial institutions, insurance organizations, it's not about money and earning income generation. It's about power, empowering, enabling, and growing our own strata of society. Which then brings me to the next 5 years, my last slide. The next 5 years. It's not about State Life as an organization. We have grown massively. You've seen the numbers. We now have a market share across life and health about 75%, more than 75%. We intend to keep contributing towards that, of course. But more importantly, where we stand now for the next 5 years, our vision is not about being an insurance corporation at all. Our vision today is about being a financial and a protection ecosystem for Pakistanis into itself. When we talk about growth, we talk about vertical growth. But what we really need to talk about, as Waqar Sahab also said, the strategy is over 20 years. The next 5 years are only going to be the first few starting steps. What we really need to talk about with such success stories as yourselves in front of me is creating that not only the vertical growth, but the horizontal foundation and strengthening it further, which comes from partnerships, which comes from understanding the whole is greater than the sum of parts. And that's where we want to expand state life as a national organization, as your organization, to deliver. We've got great partnerships with KVTC, with Hasib Saab. We've spoken with Waqar Saab on the Faji Foundation what we could do for the rural economy in Pakistan. And the understanding of it all is, first and foremost, the butterfly effect. The small step today can have a monumental impact in the future. If what we do today is positive, we can impact lives positively and significantly in the future. And also, I would steal from J.M. Barrie when I would say the Tinkerbell effect, which is to believe. Yes, the challenges are difficult, but if we believe, then only can we have the positive impact that we wish to have. And with that, contrary to what John Lennon once said, I would say the dream is not over. We are a resilient nation, as pointed out, and only if we come together, there is no force that can undo Pakistan. Thank you very much.